Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well today. I know I am. If you can see the sun on my face here, it's October 18th as of the making of this video. I'm out in my backyard and it's beautiful, unseasonably warm. So, what I'm going to do today is show everybody how I construct a compost pile. If you listened to me or heard me on any platform that I managed to get onto, um, generally I bring my soapbox and I start to profess about compost because there's lots to talk about. Compost is great. What this video will be is just how I actually go about constructing my pile and my using my bins and stuff, which are right here. It won't be going deep into the science. I'll have another video about that, but and it won't. It's assuming too here that you as a watcher have a little bit of knowledge as to how compost works, what's going on in the bin and everything. This is just how to construct a pile. I get a lot of questions on, like, I talk about a lot of compost and its benefits, but how do we actually make it, right? Which is a good question. It's super straightforward. It is really as easy as it sounds. It's literally just like making you know, a detritus parfait, if you want to call it that, with your layering of your browns and your greens, and encouraging the anaerobic bacteria, or sorry, the aerobic bacteria, not the anaerobes, those are the bad ones. The aerobic bacteria and the fungus to decompose the plant matter that you put in, resulting in this rich, humic, wonderful, beautiful gardener's gold, even though it's black, um, amendment. It's not so much a nutrient. A lot of people treat it as a nutrient. The nutrient value of compost is highly dependent on what you're putting into it, as well as how it goes about decomposing. And so generally the NPK values are quite low in it. However, the other benefits, microbial action, water retention, all of that stuff, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you're aware of and excited to take advantage of, are worth getting into. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to build a compost pile. Okay, we're back. As you can see, leaves everywhere. It is autumn here in Saskatchewan. But yeah, here's my bins, right? I have four stalls that I use, as well as some trench composting and stuff. But again, that's for another video. This will be how to use these bins. What people think of a compost pile traditionally, I guess, in an urban setting, and it's not such an open heap. This is a more open style, although you do have the walls with these are just some pallets I nailed together into a semi-square frame, and then you just use space in there. But yeah, typically people have these style. I personally don't like the rolling ones that you can set up and they don't actually touch the ground. I prefer this style. So this is what we're going to be working with. A quick run through on greens and browns. That is a kind of a vague term, to say the least. Those aren't very green, but those count as green. Basically, greens are anything that's like fresh kind of plant material that's not like dried out and turned brown yet. It's nitrogen rich. So basically anything that comes out of your kitchen, some asparagus stems, old watermelon that went bad, eggshells, what else is in here? Fruit, peelings of stuff, lettuce, old vegetables. Coffee grounds are technically a green. They're high in nitrogen, even though they're brown. The liner is a brown. You can compost. This is something that a lot of people don't realize. You can compost and should compost napkins, Kleenex, like facial tissues, newspaper. If you need browns, I use newspaper to line my compost. Like, this is from inside where we store our kitchen waste until this is full and we bring it out to the bin. I don't like scrubbing my pail all the time because it gets pretty gross in there sometimes. So I always line it with newspaper, like old flyers or whatever, and then you can just dump everything in the bin. The paper counts as a brown. So yeah, back to the greens. The greens are just, you know, kitchen scraps, grass, fresh cut grass. There's some beet leaves there. Is a green, except you don't want to use too much grass. It tends to, because it's so fine textured, it mats and depletes the compost of oxygen, and so that's not good. You want your aerobic bacteria to thrive, and so yeah, be sparing on the grass. If you do use it, mix it with other stuff like cucumbers, old nasty cucumbers. Well, they don't look that old, but they are. Trust me. Some old apples that I dumped all the juice out of my shoe earlier. Some dead plants here. You know, these are still greens, even though they're kind of crusty now. But the peppers definitely are greens. These, he got hit by a frost. Some marigolds there. Trimmings, you know. Yeah, anything, like, you could, you know, rip this off if you really wanted to. Browns, like I mentioned, you have your napkin stuff, liners from coffee ground, newspaper, but the number one brown, of course, you know, leaves. That's what you want. That's the, in my opinion, is the best. Like, if you can get them like nicely textured like that, the finer the better. The more surface area the microbes have to attack basically and eat, the faster and better it'll go, which is what we want. Yeah, for leaves though, it's like, you know, sometimes, oh, here's greens too. These are peonies that got hit with powdery mildew. Powdery mildew is okay to compost. It doesn't, I don't think, survive in the soil. I'm not exactly sure behind the science, but I do know, I read a couple of articles about it earlier this year, and powdery mildew is okay to put in there. Yeah, one thing about pathogens and stuff actually is, depending on, you know, if it's a soil-borne pathogen especially, you might not want to put diseased plants in there unless you can get your compost really hot to kill those pathogens, because they can persist and infect your plants when you use the compost next. But yeah, so for browns, this is some old, like, I basically just raked, you know, under the trees and stuff when we first moved into the house, and ended up with a bunch of crap like this. Some like wood chips. Be sparing on the wood. Wood is great. Fungus is the only thing that actually decomposes wood though, and it does take a long time. But it's, you know, depending on what kind of compost you're making, and again, that's a bit more advanced. You know, you can tailor your compost to bacterially dominant or fungal dominant depending on what you're putting in it, but we won't get into that right now. Stay tuned. There's a peanut from a blue jay. I'll put that out here. But yeah, in my opinion, again, leaves, the best, but the best kind of leaves is, this bag is from last year, and it's been sitting here all summer and now fall and spring. And you know that, you know, the big chunky, this leaf mold essentially, this is awesome. So great for to use as browns, because it's loaded with microbes. It's already started oh, there's another peanut, man. It's loaded with microbes, and it's already started decomposing, so, you know, it's like a head start. It's like kind of like superfood, super browns. I grow a lot of plants, and I keep the soil balls, root balls, and I chop these up too, because this is mostly peat based with roots now in there, and those are both browns. So those that's great for, like, if your compost gets kind of too wet, you can load it up with some of that, also using browns. But soil balls are great to use as well, as far as, you know, just don't throw them out if you do grow a lot of stuff like I do. Here we have the back, like I mentioned. I raked, when we first moved in, the yard was kind of a mess, so we raked everything and put it in bags, and it's still here, and it's all full of leaves. And yeah, so I have enough browns to last me for quite a while, and we continually produce greens, you know, in the kitchen mostly, but as well as trimming plants. And yeah, sometimes people give me stuff too. I got some okara, which is a soybean, the solid residue of soy milk and tofu manufacture, and I composted that in this one, and it was awesome. But anyway, we'll get on to the actual building of the pile. How about that? So what I've done so far, I haven't done anything really, but I like to line the very bottom. This is my empty bin. I emptied it earlier this week. I like to line it with some sticks and old stems and stuff to kind of give it a little bit of air, I guess. I don't really think it works because, well, in a way, but everything mats down on it anyway and fills the pore spaces. But in my mind, I don't know. I always just like to do that. You don't have to. You can just start right with your brown layer. But yeah, I like to throw some sticks and stuff down. So, like I just mentioned, we're going to begin with a layer of browns and a mixture. I'm probably going to hack up one of those soil balls as well. So yeah, we'll do that right. Yeah, so I've tossed some grass in there, but yeah, basically all I'm doing here, that, you know, it ain't rocket science. It is science. Don't get it twisted. But again, you know, people have been doing this for thousands of years. Well, Mother Nature's been doing this for, you know, 330 million years, since the beginning of plants. And yeah, so I should mention the ratio. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. The ratio of browns to green is important. You want a little bit more browns than you do greens. Greens tend to be heavy water, and you can get anaerobic situations with a lot of greens, just because the bacteria, as they eat, they use oxygen, because they're aerobic just like us. And if they run out of oxygen because of it's too wet, you know, there's no dissolved oxygen in there anymore, or you're not turning your pile, so there's no infusion of new oxygen, it can get anaerobic and smelly, and the wrong type of decomposition happens. So it's an easy fix. If that does happen, all you got to do is more browns. Mix it around, get some air in there, maybe some garden soil to help with the smell. And yeah, so here's our layer of browns. Let's start with that. Looks great. Now we have a layer of greens. So like I said, it's just like a parfait. If you don't know what a parfait is, I've never actually had a parfait, but a parfait is just a layered thing with like chocolate and yogurt and shit. Sorry, didn't mean to swear. Ice cream. I don't know what's in a parfait, but it's layered. That's all I know. But greens. Let's put the greens in the browns. I'm going to dump it from the top. Nice. Kind of gross. Blah, 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 you know? Lots of juice in there. That's good. There's another big bowl full, some popcorn in there. Microbes do need liquid, you know. They live in a microbial slime essentially, so water is important. Not too much, but so yeah, stuff like watermelon, great, very good addition to your pile. So there's our greens. Here's our greens. You do kind of like want to even it out, obviously. I have some tools I have here. These are my composting tools: a shovel, this thing, and a crowbar. Crowbar I use to stir. It works great, but you can use anything, like a big piece of rebar, just something pretty solid that you can jam in there and mix around with. But I'm going to use this. Oh. And then, yeah, just kind of, you know, even it out a little bit. Yes, even it out, as I was saying. I dropped my phone into the bowl of old compost. Oops. Yeah, you know, just so you don't have any big lumps of stuff. Eggshells, I mean, I eat a lot of eggs. I eat like 3 or 4 eggs every day. So tends to be a lot of eggshells in my compost. Eggshells do take a bit longer to decompose, but they do decompose. And even if they're not totally decomposed, they're pretty, you know, they're good to have in your soil. They're loaded with calcium and encourage microbes in your soil, as well as, you know, I don't know, there's eggshells, so don't worry about it. But yeah, eggshells, paper. There's our green layer. Looks great. Very green. Oh yeah. See all that in there? Perfect. Perfect. So, Now, because this is a new pile, I'm going to probably add in, not probably, I am going to. You saw these big things of, looks like soil, but this is compost. This is after I've sifted my compost. I have a compost sifter I built. I have another video you should check out on how to sift finished compost. This is just how to build compost. Yeah, how to build compost. So what I'm going to do here is use this because it already has microbes infused in it due to its compostic nature. But you can use anything, well, not anything, sorry, I shouldn't say, not anything, anything garden soil related. So you can come over to your garden and just grab a handful of soil. It'll have the general majority of the microbes that you're interested in harnessing in the compost bin, and just chuck that in as like a compost starter. A lot of stores do sell them, and they do work. You know, they're not invalid. It's just might as well use something local. And you know, there's something to be said for the localist of local microbes too. You know, maybe that you have a unique species of some kind of microbe that's endemic to your yard and is really awesome at decomposing. So yeah, maybe not, probably not. So yeah, all I'm gonna do here is sprinkle it in. You know, because they're on the ground, they're, you know, pretty the microbes can access them pretty decently anyway. But yeah, so that's all I'm doing. Sprinkle that in there like so. And yeah, now we're just gonna layer, like I mentioned about the parfait thing. I don't know why I keep bringing that up. I don't even know what fucking parfait is. Sorry, French again. But yes, compost pile. So yeah, I'm gonna toss some more browns in there. Okay. These are fresh leaves from this year. Which I should be using the ones from last. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna use these. I would like to get rid of these bags, and so would Cheryl would like me to as well. So yeah, let's grab these. Chuck that in there. Use my special stick. You know, that's a bit much, maybe for browns, but whatever. It's okay. It's, you know, not an exact science. Yeah, let's toss some more greens on there. I like the greens because they sound better. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, here's a pail full of pig slop. Oh. Yeah, get a lot in there. Oh, that's too much. That is too much. That's okay. I'll mix it around and we'll be just fine. It's going into winter right now anyway, so all this stuff's gonna freeze and then thaw and turn into goop in the spring and be microbe steroids. So it's great. Oh yeah. So there we have some more greens. They don't look so green anymore, you know, because they're kitchen scraps, but trust me, green. And yeah, they're pretty gross because they're already slightly decomposed, but the microbes like that. They smell kind of like fermented sugars because that's what's really going on in there. It's probably a little bit of alcohol actually being produced. But that smell, it's kind of a sweet, alcohol-y, rotting fruit smell. That's good. That's what you kind of want to smell. If it smells like ammonia, if it smells like H2S or like rotting bodies kind of thing, seriously, then yeah, you want to get some oxygen and some browns in there because you probably have some anaerobes taking over and doing their thing, which is not what you want. So yes, there's their layer of greens. I'll put some more browns in there now. Use some good browns this time. Yeah, leaves. Get it in here and I'll show you. See? It's just layering up, you know. These are handy because, you know, they keep well, animals and stuff out for one. And they keep the moisture kind of retained in, and they're I don't know, they're not as easy to manage as an open thing like that, but they do kind of speed up the process a bit. I think the minimum volume you want for one of these is like something like 3 cubic feet, which doesn't really mean anything to me in terms of a I don't know how to visualize that, you know, but these are very readily available. If you're in Saskatoon, you can get a rebate from the city. Sask Waste Reduction Council, the group I volunteer with to teach people how to compost, is the one who does that, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, get a compost bin like this, and that's great. But I'm going to put in some more greens, keep building it up. See, just browns and greens, a little bit of soil here and there to, you know, infuse it with those microbes. Yeah, so sorry I stopped the video there. So jump forward in time a bit. Put some browns, put some greens. I'm gonna put the front cover on now. As you can see, it's about half full, you know, up to here or whatever. So it's starting to fall out. So I'm gonna put that on and continue filling the top. Ooh. So it fills it up a bit more. And I got the lid or the front cover on, and yeah, all you're doing now is continually layering it up until it's full. It'll look something like this. Oh, here we are. Got a couple. Put those over there. Yeah. So this one is full. It's not so active anymore because it's really cold, and well, it's actually done. I have to empty it. So that's why it's not doing very much right now. But yeah, this is what it looks like when it's full. If you have an active compost, like you're actively stirring it, adding stuff, watering it, I'll talk about water in just a sec here too, because that's important. But yeah, if you're watering it and doing everything right, you can have compost, finished compost. I can get it in about 30 to 45 days, usable compost. And yeah, speaking of usable compost, this is what it's going to look like. This is after sifting it, obviously. But it basically looks like soil, kind of. You know, you can see some eggshells still in there and some perlite from my root balls. But yeah, gardeners, oh, there's a seed. There's a big pumpkin seed or something. It smells good. It smells like kind of earthy. You know, it doesn't smell bad. It's got lots of microbes. Lots of pore spaces for all the bacteria to hang out in. Yeah, that's what you're after. But this is after, like I said, the sifting. So check out that video to know how to get this. Ooh. And yeah, I use this as an additive in all my soil that I make. It's awesome. You know, it's free, essentially. It keeps all this stuff out of the landfill, which is great because landfills are super expensive, horrible for the environment. And this keeps it local. So yeah, the more you can reduce your, well, traveling, essentially, whether it's sending this away in some truck or whatever, you know, I'll keep all the carbon in your yard, and that's the way to go. But yeah, composting. That's I'm just going to continue to build those up, like I said, and that's it. Really that simple. Keep turning it. It's winter, so I'll let it freeze. But yeah, in the summertime, I'm turning this kind of every 2 days. Watering. So yeah, watering. I use just a regular watering can. This is 2 gallons. When I first make the pile, I usually when it's about half full, I'll dump 1 gallon, and as I build it up, if it dries out, here in Saskatchewan, it's very dry, so these tend to dry out. If it dries out, your microbial activity will slow, and you won't get finished compost as fast. It will still do it, but it just takes a lot longer. And so yeah, if you can keep them happy and healthy in their bacterial slime, that's great. So yeah, watering can, 2 gallons, kind of every 2-3 days if you're in dry climate. If not, you know, if it's too wet, maybe you'll have to add browns in, right, like I mentioned before. But it's all dependent on your situation. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. So you should do it. I'm happy to help, you know. Leave some comments on the video comments area. Some questions if you have any questions. Some websites to check out are my website, first of all, of course, templegrowing.com. I'm also on the socials, so hit me up there if you have any specifics, or you should show me your compost bin. That'd be pretty cool. Tim Wilson's microbeorganics.com is a great resource for diving deep into the microbial stuff, looking at pictures of microbes and nematodes, learning about compost tea. He's really good at compost tea, so microbeorganics.com is good. The Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council's website, like I mentioned before, the swrc.ca, and right at the top of the page there should be a compost button, so click that. It's got lots of good videos, much shorter than this video, how-tos, everything from this kind of composting, trench composting, heap composting, vermicomposting, bokashi composting. It's got everything. Check them out, they're great. And what else can I say? Oh, this book is really good. This is the one I always like to tell people if you're really interested. The Complete Compost Gardening Guide by Barbara Pleasant and Deborah Martin. I'll have links for all this stuff, you know, in the description if you do want to have a look. Jeff Lowenfeld is another one, Teaming with Microbes. Excellent book to learn about the microbes and why they're important, and how to encourage them. Good compost chapter in there as well. But it's getting kind of dark, and I think it's time to go because, yeah, that was a good, well, it was a long one, but hopefully it helps some people. Hopefully it sheds some light on how easy it is to get into composting, and why you should do it. I didn't really get into why, but, you know, if you trust me, then you should do it. And if you're watching this long, you should probably trust me and believe in me. And yeah, not believe in me, believe me. So do it, compost. But yeah, I will let you go, and hopefully see you again soon. Take it easy.